The Detroit Pistons lose in a heartbreaking fashion on a game winner to the Washington Wizards. But I'm going to tell you guys in today's episode another example we saw in this game of why this team's not actually too far away from taking the next step in this rebuild. We're going to talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. And if you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Today, I want to talk with you guys about Jaden Ivey's incredible game. He had 26 points, 12 assists, came up clutch for the Detroit Pistons, gave everything he could to try to get the Pistons this win. James Wiseman also put on an absolute display, flashed everything that Weaver probably sees in him. We're going to talk about all that a little later. But the first thing I got to talk with you guys about, and also later on, we got some news of Hamidou Diallo. We'll talk about that as well. But first, I have to talk with you guys about this. The last episode we recorded here, I told you guys that I did not think the Pistons were far away from taking the next step in their rebuild, as a lot of people seem to think. I do not think that they need to make any big moves. I don't think they have to move anybody on the young core. I think they can bring back all their young core pieces that have been drafted the last 3 years and have them be part of the rotation, and they could possibly be a play-in team next year. I told you guys that last episode, and this game right here provided even more evidence of what I'm talking about. The Pistons only lost this game by 2 points. And the reason why they lost this game just by 2 points, obviously, Jaden Ivey played really well. Obviously, James Wiseman played really well. But the biggest reason for me that they were so close in this game and they played so well in this game, down Killian Hayes, down Jalen Duren, down Isaiah Stewart, Bojan Bogdanovic, Hamidou Diallo, down 6 guys in their rotation, they were able to be close in this game and put a good product on the floor is because the lineups made sense. The roster the players that were being put on the floor together made sense. Basketball is not a complicated game, guys. Basketball is not hard. It's not hard to figure out how to put guys on the floor together and what fits and what doesn't. It's not rocket science. The Pistons, for a large majority of this game, they had Jaden Ivey on the floor with James Wiseman. Those are your pick and roll guys. You run high pick and roll with them. And Jaden Ivey's creating the looks for everyone else. James Wiseman is finishing off plays, creating looks for himself, obviously, etc. You run pick and roll with those two guys. They put Isaiah Livers next to him. I'm going to mispronounce his last name. Their 10-day contract guy, Eugene Marui. I believe that's how you say his name. I could be off base with that. I could be incredibly off base with that, but they played him next to Isaiah Livers. Those guys are 2 fine defenders who are trying hard defensively on the wings. Isaiah Livers is spacing the floor out, and they played, whether it's Rodney McGruder next to him or Corey Joseph, etc. The whole plan that they were going with was high pick and roll with Jaden Ivey and James Wiseman, surround them with figuratively shooters, and for what it's worth, Rodney McGruder hit 3 threes. Isaiah Livers hit 3 threes. The 10-day contract, Eugene, he hit 1 3. So they had shooters around them. Then on the other end, they actually had 2 wings who were stopping the ball and playing good defense. This 10-day dude, I hate calling him that because I don't want to continue to mispronounce his name. I believe it's Amarui. He was playing tremendous defense. There's multiple clips that I want to go and look up and tweet out. When he's staying in front of Bradley Beal and forcing turnovers, there's a few hard foul calls that he had that went against him, blocking fouls, but easily could have been charging calls. But simply, look, my point is, I tweeted this out during the game. If the Pistons can put out that good of a product that we saw in this game against the Washington Wizards, if they can remain this close in a game without 6 rotation players, if they can remain that close and put out that kind of product without 6 rotation players, simply because the lineups that they put on the floor made sense. They fit together. The players that were on the floor weren't even actually that good. Rodney McGruder is not some superstar. Rodney McGruder is an end-of-bench guy, end-of-bench vet. The 10-day contract is a 10-day contract. He may not even be on the roster in 10 days. These guys aren't great players. These guys aren't good players, really. Okay? But it didn't matter because if you can put the right pieces on the floor that make sense around your main guys, if it makes sense around them, you can put out a good product on the floor. And this is just further example that I think that all this team needs to do, really. I think they have their guard rotation. I think they have their big rotation, just not together. I think they have their center rotation, either Wiseman or Duren. I think they like Stu, obviously. And then they obviously like Bagley. The problem is those guys just can't really aren't a great combination together. Doesn't mean they're not a good front court rotation to have. You can cycle them in. So I think they feel confident with their front court rotation. I think they feel confident with their guard rotation. They just desperately need wings that can shoot and play defense. And if they have that, I think this team, if you bring back the 6 guys that we've talked about, you bring back Cade, Ivey, Duren, you bring back Killian, Livers, Stu, and you surround those guys, that's a good core to have. They make sense in their own lineups. If you put wing defenders that can play defense and shoot threes and just not need the ball in their hands, they just do all the other stuff and connect on both sides, you have it. You have it right there. This is the formula. What you just saw in this game, that is the formula. If they're able to do that with a 10-day guy, imagine what they could do with a. It doesn't even have to be a great player. Imagine what they could do with a Grant Williams, with a Cam Johnson, with any of those type of guys. Doesn't have to be an all-star guy. All it has to be is a guy that fits what they need. And that right there is the biggest thing to me that I think a lot of people need to understand. You don't need, it's not about getting great individual talent. I think the Pistons have great individual talent with their core. Their main 3 core, Ivey, Cade, and Duren, those 3 guys, incredible talent, incredible guys to build around. They're going to add another at the top of the draft. Maybe even Wemby. That's hopeful wishing, but it's going to be a top-end talent. So I think their hardcore is going to have a lot of talent. I don't think they're missing that. I think they have nice role players that they've drafted. I don't think they're missing that. What they're missing are guys that can fit around those guys on the wings to make it make sense. They don't need any stars. They could, obviously, I'm talking about this in the context of taking the next step in their rebuild. Now, if you're talking about winning a championship in 5-6 years, obviously you need like 3 all-stars. Like you need those type of players to win a championship. But we're so far away from that. We're like 5-6 years away from that. We're talking about taking the next step of the rebuild. That's not far away. They don't need to do much for that. Just make it make sense around these guys. Make it make sense. They have a nice young core with the 3 guys, Duren, Cade, and Ivey. That's their main core. They have 3 to 4 other guys who are nice role players. You have that. Just find the right pieces to fit next to them. That's all you need to do. This game was a perfect example of that. Amarui in his minutes was a +3. Was a +3, and that absolutely matches the eye test. Absolutely matches the eye test. When he was on the floor, the Pistons were just playing so much better. Is it because he himself is a great individual talent? No. Is it because he's some great player, even a good player? Who knows if he's even going to be in the NBA next year? No. But it's because with him and Livers on the wings, you have wings who can actually stop the ball and can play defense. And Amarui was able to hit a 3, and Livers is a 3-point shooter too. So you have the spacing and the defense on the wings, and that's what the Pistons are missing. That's what they need to address. They have everything else, in my opinion, to take this next step. They just desperately need to revamp their wing room. Desperately. And I think they're going to do that this offseason. I think you're going to see a lot of the young core come back, and you're just going to see a few new faces on the wing. And that's all they need. That's all they need, really. So, we're going to probably talk about this a lot the rest of this offseason, probably to end the season and the offseason, obviously. But yeah, this game, if you watch this game, you know what I'm talking about. This game was the perfect example of exactly what they need to do. They were able to do it with not even good players. This is exactly the blueprint they need. They have everything else. They just need that. And they're going to get it in the offseason. So let me know what you guys think about that. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. When we come back, I want to talk about the play of James Wiseman and Jaden Ivey coming up. Those two guys went crazy for the Pistons tonight, especially Ivey late in this game. I'm going to tell you guys what happened in this game and what the Pistons can take away from this game to help better use James Wiseman like this moving forward. Talk about that coming up. But first, oh man, I can't wait to tell you guys about this one. I got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors. This one, excuse me, is Ultimate GM. Now look, I want you guys to look at, for those of you guys that are on YouTube, you can look at it right here. I got it downloaded on my phone. I've just started playing it. It's a super, super fun game. I'm really geeked out by a new partner and sponsor today's episode. Like I said, Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. Ever dreamed of becoming an NBA GM and managing your own basketball franchise? Well, your dream can come true, and this game is definitely for you. Manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through the season, and lead your team to glory. You're responsible for hiring the right coaches and assistants, trading and training players, making draft picks, navigating your franchise through free agency, the draft, and all the ups and downs of the season. All this in a challenging, realistic game world. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want to and when you want to. And like I said, for those of you guys that look on YouTube, you guys can see it right here on my phone. So it's as simple as this, man. You simply go download the app, whether you're on Android, on Apple. You download the app. You create your profile. You can create your own GM. What do you want him to look like? You can make him look like you. You pick whatever team. They have cities teams, just like in the NBA. They have the cities teams. You pick which team you want. You start with finances. You have cap space. You have all kinds of things you can do, and you guide them through the season. As you can see, I'm in a Locked On league for all of our Locked On NBA hosts. I'm going to try to finish number one, man. I think I can go out there. I think I'm going to be the best GM. But it's super dope, man. It's super cool. It's kind of dope. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Definitely go check it out, man. I'm going to be probably grinding. Instead of playing the Xbox like I usually do after recording, I'm going to hop on this. I'm going to figure out how I can get my team to try to go 82-0 in the season. Yes, 82-0 in the season. That's what I'm going to try to do after this. But Locked On Pistons listeners, you get 100% free boost to your franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure you check it out. Download the game. Just visit probasketballgm.com. Scan the code or look it up on the app store. That's probasketballgm.com. Ultimate Basketball GM. Start your dynasty today. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So the two big stars from this game against the Washington Wizards was Jaden Ivey and James Wiseman. Now, you had a little role player of a star in the 10-day contract, and Eugene Amarui. He played really well. Even RJ Hampton played fine off the bench, really engaged defensively. A lot of guys contributed to this close loss that the Pistons had. Everyone scored except Jared Rhoden. Outside of him, everyone scored at least 9 points. So it was a group effort, for sure. But Jaden Ivey, we're going to start with him first. Jaden Ivey was playing an absolutely spectacular game from the point guard position, and then later in the game, absolutely turned it up when it comes to scoring the basketball, when it comes to being the Pistons closer. Now, look, he finished with 5 turnovers. That's not good. That's pretty bad. But a lot of those turnovers came late, and the one turnover he had through the first 3 quarters was a pass that should have been caught from Marvin Bagley. It would have him a wide open dunk. So he turned the ball over quite a bit in the fourth quarter. However, before then, he had like an 11-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, and that continues upon another coming off the backs of another game. We had 13 assists and was great with that. We are seeing Jaden Ivey grow as a playmaker. He is learning to know when to use his athleticism and when to slow down. You're seeing him just make all these improvements in his game that we saw him struggling with at the beginning of this season. At the beginning of the season, like we've talked about a lot, he would move too fast. He was out of control on a lot of his jump shots, a lot of his pull-ups, all that kind of stuff. And we've seen him get so much better as the season went on for the Detroit Pistons, especially since making him really the point guard of the team. He's been showing improvement in this area over and over and over again. And before the fourth quarter, it wasn't like he had a ton of points. It wasn't like he was out there scoring the basketball. I'm trying to get just the fourth quarter stats. I can't get them right now. But a lot of his scoring, the majority of his scoring came in the fourth quarter for the Detroit Pistons. And before that, all he was doing was running high pick and roll with James Wiseman and finding the open guy. He was using his ability to get to the lane to open up shots for the rest of his teammates. Here we go. Fourth quarter. So in the fourth quarter of this game, Jaden Ivey scored. There you go. That's exactly what I wanted to see. In the fourth quarter of this game, Jaden Ivey scored 14 of his 26 points. 14 of his 26 points. In this fourth quarter, he had 2 assists. So before the fourth quarter, he had 10 assists. So through the first quarter to the third quarter, he was just getting the guys the ball that were open. He was using his ability to get to the rim, make the defense collapse. He was finding Wiseman on rolls. He was finding Wiseman in the little high post area when he would slip screens. He was finding opposite corner kickouts. He was finding same corner kickouts. He was doing a fantastic job of orchestrating the offense for the Detroit Pistons. And then when they needed him late to come through, as Bradley Beal was getting hot and trying to close the Pistons out, as Kyle Kuzma was getting hot and trying to close the Pistons out, as Kristaps Porzingis was getting hot and trying to close the Pistons out, they needed someone to step up and keep them in the game and hit tough shots. Jaden Ivey did that with 14 points, 4 of 7 shooting in the fourth quarter, got to the free throw line 6 times, made 5 of 6 of them. He was the Pistons closer. He showed up and showed out in this game. Again, yes, I understand he had 5 turnovers. But look, man, his playmaking is coming such a far way, man. He's been so good as the Pistons point guard for where he's at for a rookie, for where he was at the beginning of the year. Just so many areas, the playmaking, the pull-up shooting in between area, just decision-making in the in-between area, knowing how to change speeds, knowing when he needs to go full speed and knowing when he needs to calm down, knowing when to pick his spots like we did tonight. You're seeing so many things that Jaden Ivey has improved on in just his rookie season. There's no way you can't be insanely high on this guy. There's not many players improve on this many things in one season, in just a rookie season. He's not great at all these things. I'm not trying to say that, but he's improved on almost just about everything from where he was in game 1, in the preseason, in training camp. He's improved on just about everything. And that's incredibly encouraging to see from him. The ceiling is high for that man, dude. He's going to be really damn good. And another thing that Greg Kelser mentioned on the broadcast, he's not scared. He's not scared to miss. He's not scared to embarrass himself. He's not scared to take a bad shot. Sometimes that can hurt him. Yeah, sometimes he can take a bad shot that hurts the team. But sometimes, like tonight against Washington, when you need a guy that can step up and make some shots and help you out when the offense is in a rut, he's there. He's going to take those shots. He's going to take them confidently, and he's not afraid to fail. And that's the kind of result you'll get. A guy who's not scared to fail, and he's going to keep you in a game and almost damn near win you the game because of his shot making when you need it. Jaden Ivey has been great. He's been absolutely great, and he needs to get more respect from the national level when it comes to Rookie of the Year kind of stuff. I don't think he's going to win it. I don't think he should win it. Paolo's been good. Walker Kessler has been amazing. Jalen Williams for the OKC Thunder has been absolutely crazy. So I'm not saying he should win it, but he should 100% be getting more respect than I feel like he does nationally. But yeah, another great game from Ivey, man. And then with James Wiseman, he only had 5 rebounds, which is not great. He did have 2 blocks. I like some of the things we saw from him defensively. He was inconsistent on that end, but you continue to get those flashes as him as a rim protector and in the drop coverage. You also get some of the bad reps. But offensively, this game showed how the Pistons should really be using him. He needs to be the 5-man. You run high pick and rolls with him. You get him the ball in the high post area and let him face up. He has good touch. I'm not saying he can't post up from the block and hit a hook shot. He has good touch. He did it a few times tonight. But you can so clearly see that he's so much more comfortable when you get him the ball in space and he can face up and uses athleticism to beat the guy to the rim, to hit a face-up jumper, or draw a foul. He did it so many times over and over and over and over again for the Pistons tonight. Heck, in the first half, I kid you not, if you didn't watch this game, in the second quarter, I believe, he broke Daniel Gafford's ankles and sent him to the ground on a little yank back, and then drove to the rim and drew a foul. The dude has insane skill. He's not just some guy you just put in the dunker spot, like how they've been doing. Not some guy you just have him roaming around the paint, waiting for a shot to go up and get an offensive rebound. That's not him. He needs to be a focal point of the offense. He needs to be in high pick and roll routinely, get him rolling to the basket. So when he rolls to the basket, like if he catches it around the free throw line as he's rolling, he can use his handle. He can use his athleticism to try to create a shot for himself, going full speed, or even catching it, facing up, hit a jumper, all that kind of stuff. He's talented offensively. Do not just, put him in a box to where he's just, sitting in the dunker spot. Oh, we're going to set screen and roll to the rim and wait for offensive rebound, or have him just floating around the paint. That's not his game. You saw it tonight. He played really well for the Pistons tonight, man. 10 of 13 shooting, 21 points, incredibly efficient. He was working them offensively, incredibly impressive from James Wiseman. I think they got a taste of how they need to use him, and I hope that they continue to use him in this way because he is extremely talented, man. You see why Weaver was high on him. He has a ton of work to do. He's very inconsistent on the defensive end, but you see the flashes. He has a ton of work to do, especially on the glass too. But you see why Weaver is high on him, and I hope that this game was a wake-up call on how they need to use him moving forward. So great game from those two guys. I loved what I saw, and I hope we get a ton of this moving forward. High pick and roll with those two guys, and especially next season with Caden Ivey, high pick and roll over and over to death with Duren or Wiseman when he's in the game. Yeah, that should be the offense. But let me know what you guys think about that. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kukahill. Coming up, we got some news for Hamidou Diallo. It's not great news. It's actually really bad news. Sad to hear it. Hate to hear that for him. I'm going to tell you guys what that is coming up. But first, I got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, FanDuel Sportsbook. The midway point, or really a little bit over the midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because new customers get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000 as bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from money line to point scorers to threes drained. And like I've been telling you guys need to be listening to me. Take the over on Jaden Ivey's assist. That player prop is money. You got 13 assists yesterday. You got 12 assists tonight. If you guys were to listen to me in back-to-back episodes, you guys were reining in some cash. That's the kind of thing you can do over at FanDuel. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. And if you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. All right. Tough news, man. Tough news. Media got an email today. I'm reading it from my phone here. We got an email at 5:16 p.m. from Pistons PR. An MRI performed today revealed the Pistons guard Hamidou Diallo suffered a grade 2 right ankle sprain in last night's game versus Portland. Diallo will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks, and further updates will be provided as appropriate. And Dwayne Casey went on to say that he basically is confirming that Diallo will be missing the rest of the season for the Detroit Pistons. First of all, the Pistons just can't catch a break with the injuries. I understand that maybe some of the injuries are just, tanking. But that's more so like Bojan, Burks, et cetera. But they don't want these guys to be missing games. They want those guys to be getting reps. And it sucks for Diallo, who has been playing really, really well for the Pistons, for him to have to miss the rest of the season with how he was playing. In a big year for him, too. I feel like he's earned himself a payday in the offseason. This is a tough way to end your season. It sucks for him, man. I feel incredibly bad for him. And I hope he comes back 100%. But this is where I want to take it. Look, The Pistons are in a tough situation, man. Because Diallo 100% has earned himself a payday. I feel like he 100% has proven that there's a place for him in the NBA, in an NBA rotation somewhere. I believe that. But the Pistons are in a tough situation, man. Because he's done that for you. He's done that for you. You've invested the time to develop that, and he's eventually gotten there. But he's a free agent this offseason. And at where the Pistons are at in their rebuild with the players they have, it's just tough. This may have been the last time you guys have seen Diallo in a Pistons uniform. And it's not because he's not good. Again, like I said, I believe he's deserved a payday. He's going to get paid by somebody, and someone's going to want to bring him on because he's proven to be someone that can probably play maybe the back end of a rotation. He's proven that at least. He has a place somewhere in the NBA. But look, man, it's a tough situation because look, I'm going to just guess here, educated guess here. You in the starting lineup, let's just say Cade, Ivey, Bojan, first round pick Duren, okay? That may not be what happens. They may trade Bojan, maybe someone else like Cam Johnson, maybe get him in free agency, maybe it's another first round pick. But that's basically what you're looking at, okay? Educated guess. Cade, Ivey, Bojan, first round pick Duren. Coming off the bench, at the backup point guard, you got Killian. At the backup shooting guard, Burks right now. Backup 3, Isaiah Livers, who they're incredibly high on. Backup 4, you got Isaiah Stewart. Backup 5, you got James Wiseman. He's not taking James Wiseman's minutes. Doesn't make sense. He's not going to take Stu's minutes. Killian's minutes doesn't interact with him. So all you guys who hate Killian Hayes, you could trade Killian Hayes all you want. I mean, go ahead for this hypothetical. Bring a different point guard in. He's still not. That still doesn't change anything for Diallo. So point remains. Killian's not impacting his minutes. Stu is impacting his minutes. Wiseman is impacting his minutes. Weaver has come out openly and said how high he is on Livers, and the point of the end of this season really was to get Livers more minutes. And you know how high I am on Livers as well. At the end of the day, they're not moving on from Livers, and they're not taking Livers' rotation spot away for Diallo. So that really just brings the last shooting guard position, backup shooting guard, for Burks, who has been one of the best bench players in the NBA for the Pistons. When he returned, the Pistons instantly became the best bench scoring unit in the NBA. So it's a tough position, man. I don't know, it comes down to just a numbers game, man. It's not about Diallo. It comes down to a numbers game, and I just feel like he loses out here. If someone can tell me are you getting rid of Burks to get Diallo rotation minutes? Okay, well, if you're trading Burks, you're probably trading him for a pick in this draft or for another player. You're probably not just trading him for nothing. So the person that's coming back, you assume probably you want to play. It's just, I don't know, man. It's tough. I don't see where he fits because of the numbers. It's just, I think he's the odd man out. It's tough. It sucks to say that because he has played really well and he's deserved a payday. But, I think that because he's out for the rest of the year, we may have seen Diallo for the last time in the Pistons uniform. And again, that sucks to say, but I think he should be incredibly happy with what Weaver did for him because I think he's going to get a payday in the offseason. So even if he leaves the Pistons this offseason, I think he's going to be incredibly grateful for what happened with the Pistons because he was able to showcase, he was able to develop, become a better player, find that role for him in the NBA to where other teams be like, hey, he's great in that role. We need that here. And now he can get a big payday and go play that role for someone else. I think he'll be incredibly grateful for that. I think Weaver continues to do his guys solids in that department, just like Bagley. He got Bagley a contract. Whether he actually will play or if he's using a salary dump, whatever, he got his dude paid. And I feel like he's basically done that same thing with Diallo. So even if he doesn't return for the Pistons, I think they did him a great service in his time. I think he developed nicely, especially this season. So sucks he's out for the rest of the season, man. Diallo was fun to watch, especially when he played well the last, 40 games of this season. Really interested to see what happens with them in the offseason. It's a tough situation. It's tough. It's going to be a tough decision for the Pistons to make. A decision that I don't envy Weaver's seat at all. I don't envy having to make that decision. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at KukaHill. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Go Pistons and peace out.